Shout out to USARK and all USARK members. If you don't know what USARK is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what USARK is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a USARK member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with USARK organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a USARK member. And if you can't become a USARK member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what USARK is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every USARK member and USARK supporter out there.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
Coolest reptile network in the world. Episode 658, special edition, Reptile Shipping Wars. I don't know, man. You guys tell me. With me is the real OG, Chad Brown. Ben Gone, Reptiles to you, and the reptile shipping villain himself, Darian from MORPH Market Shipping. What's up, guys? Oh, there's Ben. Hold on. There we go. Hey, Ben.
There we go. What's up? What's up?
Gentlemen, what's up? What's up, Chad?
What's happening, fellas?
Thanks for being here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, this is a bit of an odd group here that you have assembled. But at the same time, you know, in the vein of the famous line from The Godfather, you keep your friends close and you keep your enemies closer. So here we all are.
That's right.
Chad,
I thought we were just saying we looked odd. So
I've never seen Chad back down from anything either. So I you know, thanks for being here, Chad. Ben, obviously, nice meeting you. Thanks for being here. And Darian, thanks for taking the time. Listen, there's a lot going on with shipping, I feel like, but reptile shipping is a huge part of what we do as reptile lovers, breeders. Without reptile shipping, none of this is possible. Let's be real. But Chad, you're from the beginning days. Ben, I know you go back from a lot of these beginning chapters. I want some of this history. I don't know, Chad, why don't you kind of tell me where things have gone from the beginning days and how this was even a thought back in the year you thought of, I believe, 2009, Ship Your Reptiles was invented. Can you remind me?
Oh, there we go. Hard with the camera.
09, right?
2009. There we go. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Give us the history, Chad.
Okay, so we were a reptile breeder, Pro Exotics Reptiles, and we wanted to be able to reduce our shipping rates so we can get our animals to our customers cheaper. What a novel concept. Here in 2025, that's what everyone's still trying to do, that exact same thing.
Right.
So at the time, we were talking about maybe we were to join forces with some other folks who were breeding and pool up our accounts together and present that volume to one of the shipping companies. Maybe we can get a deeper discount. So that was kind of the origin of, okay, there's a way to get cheaper shipping, and it's going to be through a higher volume. And then the thought occurred to us, well, if this is going to be good for us, what if we could bring this to everybody? Which was, you know, the same things that we had done with temp guns. this is such a cool tool. What if we sold these to everybody?
Right.
Well, we love getting all this reptile information from the internet. What if we compile that into the Reptile Report? So this thought of here's something cool that we want to do, and then trying to bring that to as many people as possible. That was kind of the origins of this, of let's take care of us. Oh, wow, we can take care of us and take care of other people along the way. That's where that all started. And so from a very simple origin, now we're in a space where there's, multiple competitors in the market, which is great for the consumer who wants to buy shipping, because now they get to choose from various options. Now there's competitors, there's shipping companies that utilize different shipping partners and shipping providers, which is also great for the industry. So in the 16 years since this all kicked off, been a lot of change, a lot of evolution. Some folks have come and gone. The market's changed, the expectations have changed, the business model of shipping itself has changed a bit as well. But it was really just as simple as, how can we pay less for shipping?
But it was only Ship Your Reptiles was the first and only shipping reptile company in the beginning. There was no competitors when you first came out, right, Chad?
There was, and pardon me for forgetting the name, but there was a guy who was kind of trying to do this, and he had made a bunch of promises to people and flamed out, did not have the business acumen, probably nor the funds to build a website that is as complicated as interfacing with customers, merchant processing, and a shipping provider like FedEx or UPS. So he flamed out pretty quickly. But the origins of the idea we had before that, but it was great to see him get some excitement going and then fall apart so we could come in and present a very professional option.
Yeah. And so Ben, when did you come into the mix? Like, let's kind of talk about your part of the history with this.
Yeah, absolutely. First off here, I'm sitting on my back porch right now. Is it crazy? Is this the outside sounds?
You're good, buddy.
Fine? Okay. Just want to make sure this air conditioning all that's running over there. So I can move inside if I need to, but it's just a good day outside. But yeah, so that was a good intro there from Chad. And by the way, I've never actually met you before, Chad. So this is really the first time I've ever really spoken to you, officially.
Nice to meet you, my
I
friend.
mean, obviously I've heard of you, know who you are. But yeah, I don't think I've ever spoke to you on the phone or anything. So nice to officially meet you here. Yeah, so not too long after, Chad came around and did it. I was thinking it was 08 for some reason. So 09, I guess, when you started. I think we did in 2010. So I guess, right about a year after you. Before I get to that part, I mean, I'll give you the slight background on why I'm even here anyway and why I'm even in this industry. I'm in this industry because of my grandfather originally, and that goes back to Gann's Cricket Farm. And my granddad started that in 1952. And he was a welder. I live in Augusta, Georgia, so he lived here as well. He was a welder on a big lake here called Clarksville Lake. They were building the dam for the lake, and it was around Savannah River. And after that project was over, they were going to send him, I think, to Maine or something, and he just didn't want to uproot and move for another 10, 15 years and change parts of the continental United States. So he decided to stay here and said, we just built this huge lake. Why don't we open a bait business and try to sell crickets? So he just did that on a whim, started a small little bait route, had a little van, drove them around to different gas stations, sold them like that. I mean, again, that was 1952 when he started doing that. Then I'll fast forward a lot because this could be a long story, but let's just skip to the 80s. Business grew. We got to a place where we got involved with FedEx, UPS. We realized we could ship these things. There was a demand for it. We started shipping all over the nation, sometimes overseas in different parts of the world too. We don't do that as much now. It's a little tricky. It's a real pain in the ass for sure. But the reason that we got into the reptile business was because of the crickets. Originally, again, was for fish bait. At some point in the 80s, it became, I would say, 80-90% started being for reptile pet industry. When that industry popped up, that's what the demand for these feeder insects was, no longer for fishing and other needs. And then kind of like what Chad was saying, we were already shipping a lot of stuff through our Gann's Cricket Farm account, and we had a big account. And we might as well we already had a live animal approved account to ship those. We might as well step the game up a little bit and start. All of our customers are reptile breeders. So why are we not shipping those too? So that was brought to our attention, and I'll talk a little bit on, how that was brought to our attention. And this is not super, public knowledge, I guess, but, it doesn't matter that much anyway. I'll just keep it brief. But originally, the business that my dad was involved in, was with Mike at Reptiles Express. That was a business that they worked on together, and that was what spawned in 2010. And the business I now am the primary owner of Reptiles 2, which I purchased from my father, Clay Gann. That business was spawned in 2015, about 5 years later. So the original business, Reptile Express, still exists. My dad was once involved in that, no longer is. They were partners and just had different, opinions of how to do things and split up. So now we have our own. That's where Reptiles 2 came from. So yeah, I guess that's in a wrap there from 1952 to now. Where you get Ben Gann on the screen today is that.
Okay, so you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, Chad, you're right. Competition started arising, but it stopped after a while, meaning like there were so many companies and it was just those companies. And then you had someone that worked for you, Chad, that started their own company. And then shortly after that, here comes Darian. And first and foremost, Chad, I gotta say, man, I've never seen anyone like hold it down the way you've held it down for Ship Your Reptiles with all this like stuff coming out of left field. So I give you mad props for where you're at with Ship Your Reptiles, but I want to know, what was that like, man? Like, especially having someone that worked under you that basically took your entire model and did their own exact thing and undercutted your prices. Like, how did you deal with that?
New competition entering the space. There seemed to be some stability, to your point, with Reptiles to You, Reptiles Express, Ship Your Reptiles. Now, there were a couple of other folks who kind of came and went or pushed their own services, going off the model that Ben and I just talked about. Superior Shipping out in California, Superior Enterprises, which provides a lot of packaging to the reptile industry. He's got his own shipping interface as well. So there's been a number of folks. But to have a former partner start his thing, I'm not surprised. We had success in this space, so why would he not try to jump into it? Certainly had long-time ties to the reptile industry. So, while I'm not surprised that he entered the space, all the rumor and gossip and innuendo and negativity that entered the space, that was really unfortunate. There's a tremendous number of reptile keepers. And while we always think about the core of the hobby, because all of us on this call have been in it for a long time, there's new folks every year. There's new folks every month. Every reptile show I go to, there's a bunch of 15-year-old girls going around looking at every single table of crested geckos. There's a bunch of 16-year-old dudes looking at every ball python table. Yeah. And they have no idea about long-standing beasts or long-standing relationships. They just want a great interface to move their animals. So while, again, I expect competition to enter the space, it can be a lucrative space. The unfortunate part is all the negativity that's come along with this. So the last couple of years have been unfortunate because now we're taking this community, which was, once upon a time, clearly a community. And now, unfortunately, it resembles our country in so many ways with separate factions. And, it's unfortunate that this community mindset, because when we had our fire at Pro Exotics, the entire community reached out and folks donated money and people were willing to give me animals. Yeah. And these same folks who were calling me up, trying to get me to take animals from them now, are on a completely different side of things because they ship with somebody else and they don't even want to be on a podcast or a video because I got to let my shipping partner know that I'm going to be on with you. And it's just like, wow, when did all this negativity and this division enter the space? It's really unfortunate that it's gone down like that because there's enough customers for all of us. And what's better and what's more American than allowing the customer to choose? Why is everyone trying to pour salt in everyone else's game? Yeah.
But what's not your
what's
game?
More American than Ben right now?
This is true.
One thing for sure, Chad, that you should be proud of is like what's not part of your game is participating in that stuff. And I feel like you had a lot of opportunity where you could have come out and said what you need to say, but you didn't. You really just kept your mouth shut and did not really entertain any of the gossip, the dramatic storylines that were being put out there, because it was getting crazy, Chad. Like people were just taking stories and just running with them. But you held it together, you held it strong. And I want to go to Darian now because Darian, you're in the thick of all this now. Like now you are basically what Chad was going through about a year and a half ago, but I would say a little bit worse, maybe. I don't know. Because I don't know, were you expecting all this negativity to be coming out with MORPH market shipping, Darian? I mean,
I kind of expected it. I figured it would happen to an extent. I think the, mad respect to Chad for, keeping his cool with things. I've tried to do the same. It's a lot more difficult than you might think sometimes.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the whole division thing. That's why I wanted to do this podcast. I was like, hey, let's all get on here and talk about shipping and show people that, we can have a conversation. And
right.
It's not like, just because we have different, people with different views and opinions and people who are competitors and all that, like we can all kind of get along and find things to talk about and not have just, I guess, hate, and have that be in charge, I guess.
And Ben, I gotta ask you, Ben, like, what? I feel like you're on the outside looking in with all this stuff. Like, you're a part of it, but you're not. And I want to know what your thoughts are with all the division and like clearly like political stuff happening with shipping. It's crazy.
Sure. Yeah, because I mean, look, for the longest time, I've been kind of sitting back. I haven't said a lot. I haven't even, most of you guys watching right now probably don't even know me or know my face. I mean, I've been behind the scenes for so long. Most of you guys know Debbie Price. Debbie Price has been the face of this business. Debbie just retired after a long time. She's been working, I guess, since we had her from the beginning, so 2010. So really, the last 15 years she's been with us. She's been our primary customer service, just lead manager, whatever. She's the one-stop shop that did it all. So I mean, honestly, I got 3 people now that I've just used to quote fill Debbie's shoes. So yeah, she was for sure really cared about these animals, hardcore, works 24/7 around the clock. I'm not going to quite entirely do that myself, and the girls that I have involved now, we do have set hours and all. And again, I'm very thankful, and so was my father, that we had Debbie in the beginning, and it did that just excellent level of customer service around the clock, basically 24/7. I'll be honest, I got to sleep sometimes, but we're going to try our best to rotate around the clock and keep our hours. We're open 12 hours a day now. But anyway, I digress from that. I was, again, behind the scenes for so long. So some of you guys don't even know who I am. You don't know this space. That's going to start changing here going forward. I'm starting to do things like this now. I'm starting to do podcasts. I'm doing a lot of advertisement, things like that. Since I just purchased this business, Reptiles to You, from my father, my kind of reign over this company is just now beginning. And obviously, I'm, my father's son, just like any father, their sons. Probably my dad was the same way when he bought the cricket farm from his dad. As soon as you hop in, you got a lot of stuff you want to change, a lot of new big ideas, blah, blah, blah. So yes, I am doing a lot of those things different than the way we did things before. Not to, say we're going to lose any quality and service, anything like that. I'm just simply going to be out there a little more, spend more money on advertisement, just do some bigger things that maybe I think we could have done in the past that we didn't. Obviously, Robin, when he pops along with Redline, did a, big splash campaign of just, wide open guerrilla marketing, boom, 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 here, 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 here. And I found out pretty quickly, a lot of people, knew that name over my name, over Reptiles to You. And I was like, really? We've been here long before that. So just sometimes getting out there and just showing your face and being present at a lot of these shows. And again, Debbie Price did that. So again, everyone knew who Debbie was. They just didn't know who I was behind the scenes, and my dad as well. But again, that'll change now going forward. But yeah, as far as all the drama in this, man, I've stayed out of it for the most part. I mean, I haven't publicly ever said anything bad about Chad, never said anything bad about Robin, Mike. I've, not really talked to you guys very much at all. Again, like today, just now is the first time I've actually ever sat down and spoken to Chad ever. And we probably should have done it a while ago. I'm busy, you're busy, we're all busy. I get that part, but I'm glad we are today. But yeah, I do agree with everything that Chad said before, that this industry for sure was built upon a foundation of reptile breeders who love animals, man. I mean, that's why we're all here in the beginning, right? We got a lot of animal lovers, a lot of people that are like, look at these exotic animals. And there's something different about picking up, an albino Trebo or something compared to just, oh, there's another Rottweiler running by, or a Black Labrador. I mean, these are exotic animals that just bring excitement and joy, especially to the younger upcoming generation. And I want that to continue. I think it will continue. Whether all of us, quote, shipping companies get along or not in this industry, it's going to continue regardless. But I'd personally rather be on the side of having all of us get back to that hey, we're one giant family. We're all after the same thing. And my opinion's always been that there's enough customers, there's enough slices of pie for everybody to eat. And that's my 2 cents on it for now, at least. We'll see what happens over the next, 5-10 years as things progress. Everyone can make their own decision how they want to act and behave, but that's going to be mine going forward.
Let me jump in real quick, MJ. So I got to give Debbie a tremendous amount of credit because you guys launched Ben, and certainly was like, there's a competitor over there. So there's a little bit of the evil eye across the reptile show. Right. Debbie would come over and give me a hug and talk to me, and I was like, you know what? I gotta let all bad feelings go here. Yes, of course competitors are going to enter the space, but when they're nice and they're kind, like Debbie was, she really informed my attitude moving forward. That we may be
that's awesome.
The same customers, but there's no reason for us to be at odds with each other. So I gotta give Debbie credit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I hope you're watching this too, Debbie, right now. Get that shout out right there. So yeah, I mean, she really, obviously you've met her. Everyone who met her knows her. I mean, she's been great. I've met very few, if zero, that I can even think on top of my head of anybody that's ever anything bad to say about her. So in the industry, it's just, oh yeah, Debbie, I call her. She's going to help fix. She's going to fix this problem, fix that problem. So she's again been really good with that. And like Chad said there, I mean, she came out in the beginning with just open arms, big, loving person, big talker. Walk right up to you and you'll be friends in 5 minutes. Act like she knows you for your whole life. So that's just the way she is. That's the way I am as well. That's the way I want to be moving forward. That's what I want, my company to at least represent going forward. I want people to know that about me. So.
Yeah. So I've been doing this podcast for going on 6 years now. And I remember names, like obviously Chad Brown. I mean, I always tell the story how I remember seeing Chad Brown play football as a kid, in Charger Stadium. And now to see that he's a part of the reptile industry just blows my mind. You know what I mean? And then now we get to a point where we have these type of things that people are clearly passionate about. Like Chad, I mean, obviously I know you're a busy guy, but man, I've seen you at a booth by yourself at a show in LA. You know what I mean? Like you're legit passionate about representing Ship Your Reptiles. And that is a priority to you, even though you clearly have other things that you could go pursue if you wanted to, but you keep the reptiles a part of your life for a certain reason. And I know that reason because again, from being a kid watching you, I always knew python snakes were part of your life, but other than your name, Chad, the second name that I remember hearing starting this podcast was Debbie. I heard so many crazy, great things about this Debbie lady. And I never got to meet her. The times I started seeing her, it was when a lot of this drama was going down, unfortunately. I just felt awkward, actually. Like, I had a Morph Market polo on. Like, I didn't know what to do. But I do know I've heard nothing but great things about Debbie. And I feel like, people like that is like stuff we should always value, a part of what we do. And again, you, Chad, you're not showing any kind of signs of like being upset or like, just going after the negativity, man, just holding it down. I learned a lot off of the way you've moved over the last couple of years, just watching you run Ship Your Reptiles, Chad, just so you know.
Well, I appreciate that. And, the lessons of football, obviously I played professional football for 15 years. I can only control what I can control. I can't control what other people say. I have no control over that shit. So, let's keep our nose down. Let's keep, trying to, do the best we can for our customers. Let's keep servicing them. And in the end, to be able to hold my head high with a sense of integrity is pretty important to me.
Okay. Well, listen, I do want to get some updates out of this episode. And I want to start with you, Chad. What's going on with FedEx not being available on your website? I feel like that's something not clarified, or it's shocking to me, but what do you have to say to that? What's going on with that?
Well, we've been making a push for UPS for quite a while now.
Oh, wow.
And we were not getting the level of adoption that we thought we should, because obviously FedEx has been a mainstay in the reptile industry for quite a long period of time. But let's not forget, Ship Your Reptiles started with UPS. So that was our initial shipping partner. Yeah. So because we weren't getting the level of adoption that we thought we should, we thought, okay, a year from now, we could be in this same place where FedEx continues to dominate the percentage of shipments through our system while we're still trying to win folks over to UPS. And so to essentially pull down the FedEx option and force folks to make the shift over to UPS was a difficult decision to make. But at the same time, it makes tremendous sense because folks have bought into it wholeheartedly. And while both companies are reducing their number of hubs, UPS has done things like they've got over 5,000 access points around the country where shipment can be either dropped off or held for pickup. So far broader footprint than what FedEx offered. And UPS is very interested in gaining some of their market share back that clearly FedEx dominated in the reptile industry for a long time. Right. So they're a great partner to work with. Their trucks are air conditioned. So there's lots of reasons why, but really to pull the Band-Aid off and force our customers to make the switch, I'd say 9 out of 10 customers have got nothing but positive reports about that switch. There's still some folks who are like, I'm so familiar with FedEx, it feels a bit awkward. I'm like, yes, I understand it. All change is difficult, but for the most part, folks are enjoying this kind of mandated switch we pulled off.
Yeah, what do you have to say to that, Darian or Ben, whoever wants to capitalize on that?
Yeah, I think, we just launched UPS as well, and we're going to be, doing a little bit of both. I think we're going to see over the next few months, how things go between the two, and we're going to show that the data on it from there, which one has higher success rate for us, and we're going to let customers choose, and then, maybe we will do something similar down the road if we have to. And yeah, I think that people need to use whatever's best and best for the animal, safest. And I think people have had a, specific company in mind and, for years that they've used and they've had luck with them. So they just stick with it because it's familiar, but that's not always the best route to go, I don't think. So.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, we're still using FedEx right now, just to start with that. And we didn't start with FedEx either. We had used UPS in the past and also DHL back in the day. And again, this was before Reptiles to You. This was when we're still against Cricket Farm. So we've been through every shipping service you can think of against Cricket Farm and tried them all out. And in the past, we landed on FedEx, I would say somewhere in, I don't know, late 80s. And we were comfortable, and we used them pretty much since, relatively exclusively. Here and there we've done UPS packages and stuff, and DHL depending on locations. But now jumping into the Reptiles to You side of things, we have only exclusively used FedEx going forward since our spun on that in 2015. So for the last 10 years on Reptiles to You, nothing but FedEx.
Wow.
I've been relatively happy with it. It's a love-hate, as my dad always says that too. Love-hate with FedEx. I love them, because my business is built upon them. Hate dealing with them for a lot of reasons all the time. They piss you off. It can be a royal pain in the ass with certain things that just seem like they should be intuitive, and they're not. And you just want to say, why the hell is this not working like I want it to? You just need to get it done. I need this to work now. UPS has obviously contacted us and wants us to switch to UPS as well. I've had quite a few meetings and talked about it. I've considered it. I mean, again, in the end, what I want is what I think all of us want, is the animal to arrive as safe as possible, get to its destination. And as you said a minute ago, a lot of people are just kind of get stuck with a particular brand and like it. And I mean, I'm guilty of that myself right now. The concept and idea of switching back to UPS after such a long time does feel a little weird and strange. It would definitely be some, learning curves again with things on our website that are very fine-tuned and coded for FedEx. I could do it all. But in the end, do I truly believe that UPS is better than FedEx? And right now, I don't know. I haven't done that research myself. I haven't been using UPS directly for the last 6 months to a year to really compare them. I've asked a lot of people, and I talked to you guys. I've talked to Darren about it, and now hearing Chad talk about it and saying, 9 out of 10 people are happy with it. When I was in Daytona last year, I walked around and asked a lot of people there, just, trying to pick up new shippers myself and asking who they were using. And I got a lot of UPS, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, really? And UPS just came back, offering reptile shipment with snakes again, which they, didn't for a long period of time. But now they're also trying to be competitive and say, hey, let's get back in this market. And within, I don't know, 5 years or so, maybe they are better than FedEx. Maybe they do a better job. Maybe they do care more in the long run. They're both big companies, I'll tell you that. And in the back of my mind, I've always kind of thought, if I owned either one of them, if I was the owner of FedEx or the owner of UPS, why the hell would I be shipping live animals? It seems like just a hassle, a pain in the ass to deal with. I just rather ship Xboxes and things like that. So I kind of sometimes don't know why UPS and FedEx even let us do this, because it's maybe the reason they do let us do it is because they don't want to deal with all the customer service stuff that comes along with this type of, industry and shipping live animals. Because it's not the same as shipping a box of rocks or an Xbox or, a tricycle or something like that. It requires a lot more attention afterwards. So again, overall, I would imagine that our reptile industry and sales is very, very tiny slice of what either UPS or FedEx does as a whole each year. I bet it's a tiny, tiny slice. So again, sometimes I wonder, why do they even care so much? Why are we even doing this? Any day they could decide not to. That's always a fear in the back of my mind too, of no more live animal shipping. America's done with it. We're just all done. That could happen. It probably won't. It's a huge enough industry, I think, where on the customer side, at least, that the pet industry will always be there. So whether they, make money from the amount of shipments we're really doing versus shipping, other non-live objects, I think is not as relevant as the backlash they would get for taking it away from people who really want it to be there. So I guess we'll see what happens over time. But yeah, FedEx, UPS, I think they both, again, I've been here a long time. UPS longer, a lot longer actually. But again, recently I'm on FedEx right now, and I'm considering offering UPS as well myself. I'm definitely going to talk to, my customers and see what the demand is. How many people, start, if I get a lot of people asking, hey, can you start offering UPS? We want to ship to UPS. We're mad at FedEx, blah, blah, blah. But we'll go from there.
I mean, options are great in this world. That's what we that's what life is all about, having options. But let me know how much of this is accurate, Chad or Darian or Ben. I hear, and it's kind of enlightening talking about UPS, because one of the biggest things in this hobby that I feel like people are struggling with is finding a FedEx hub station close enough to them. Like, I'm in San Diego. It's not an issue for me, but you got people who live legit 2, 3, 4 hours away from the nearest FedEx hub station. But then when they hear about UPS, it's like 10 minutes away from them. So from what I'm understanding, there's a lot more UPS availability stations to get your animal shipped to versus FedEx. Is that true or false?
At this point,
I'll let them answer that.
It's true. UPS has lots of access points. Now, an access point is not necessarily a UPS staffed location. It could be, Mindy's card shop, and Mindy may not want your animals to be held for pickup there. So we try to steer our customers to UPS staff locations. But if you've got an agreement with Mindy and she's willing to accept your animals and willing to hold your animals for pickup, then you can work that out. So the footprint of options is much bigger. Both companies are closing down branded facilities, particularly facilities that are open to the public or have a customer interface to them. So everyone's going to have a airport facility, but they may not have a desk where you can go pick up your animal. So we're forced to kind of go with these other options. And at this point right now, UPS has far more options than FedEx does. They got well ahead of the curve with that and started developing this access point system. So that's a significant difference as far as convenience for both pickup and for drop off.
Hey, Chad, I got to ask you, you've been around obviously for years, and I know you've had relationships with FedEx. Did things change over the years? Like, were you getting a service that you're no longer getting, you feel like? Do you feel like that's what's kind of been the issue? Like, you just feel like things are changing a bit, like the way things used to be at a certain point? Like,
I would have to say we've all been in, hopefully, a long-term relationship of some sort. And at some point, if you're in a long-term relationship, one of the two partners may get a little jaded with the relationship, may not be as willing to do what they were willing to do before.
Got it.
So when things that were a part of the agreements before, from a purely business standpoint, are now being taken away, well, that's interesting. Everyone loves to pay a bill with a credit card so you can get credit card points and get some miles so you can take a free trip someplace. But now you want me to pay with a check, or all those kinds of things. Refunds are a major issue. FedEx started pulling refunds away from people years and years ago. Now, I know some accounts were able to continue with refunds until recently, but then they were recently taken away. So a newcomer into the situation, like UPS has been, gives a chance for the field to be reset, because they obviously have to offer things that the other person took away. So I cannot sit here and say FedEx sucks, because that would be a lie. They don't. Both companies are good at what they do. But the jadedness and the feeling like there's no competition, therefore you can start to squeeze Ben and Darian and myself and Robin and everyone else in the space, got to a point where I had to explore other options. And someone who's really willing to do the things that the other company wasn't willing to do.
Yeah.
Same with Reptile shipping, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Darian, I mean, the fact you'll be offering both, Darian, what's your game plan? Like, you know, what if people are using one versus the other a lot more? Or if you, like Chad, like, you know, you just don't feel like the service is there. I mean, what's your move? You know, what's your game plan?
You know, honestly, I have no clue. Be honest with you. I mean, it depends on what happens. There's been a lot of, I'm sure everybody's aware of some of the things that have gone on, and you know, we have to kind of adapt. And you know, we added UPS as an option because we weren't sure whether that was what we were going to have to switch to or not. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, we had the box issue for a while there, and we're being told what we can and can't use and what our customers can and can't use. And, you know, when that happens, we have to make pretty tough business decisions based on that. You know, I know I've spoken with Ben about that a little bit, about, you know, the boxes and what they were requiring. And I'm sure, you know, he understands.
Well, Ben, I got to ask you, from your knowledge, did Darian make up that box rule? Is that something he just made up?
No, definitely not. That's definitely something that we have to do as well. And I mean, for the longest time, this is such a weird topic that even came. I mean, I was kind of shocked when this whole thing arose and I saw the hoopla about this. I was like, really? Everyone's so bent out of shape about this box thing. Okay. Originally, FedEx has always said that the legislature that has to be on our websites, and has been forever, says FedEx authorized shipping box. That's just pretty vague. Just means something that's FedEx authorized, approved, whatever. Doesn't necessarily have to be FedEx branded. Doesn't have to be me branded. It just has to be approved in whatever way. There's a lot of things that can fall into that category, and FedEx is pretty vague about it. At some point in the last year or so, they made us change that on our website, and legal reached out to us and said, no longer can it say approved. It's got to say yours. So you got to now use Reptiles to You branded shipping boxes. So basically, if you buy a label from me, you have to also put that on the shipping box that you buy from me. So the way this works is the label comes first. It's not vice versa. If you buy a shipping box from me, you can technically do whatever you want with that shipping box. You own it now. It's your property. I don't care what you do with it. Once you buy it from me, go build a tree fort out of it. You know, go slap a DHL label on it. Doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned, because it's not, you know, so what I have to say is, if you buy the shipping label from me, and this is the same for, you know, MORPH Market, and I assume everybody else, if this is FedEx's rules, if you buy the shipping label through me, then you also now have to buy that box. That shipping label can only go on a box you also get from me. I don't know why I decided to do that. But at some point they did. FedEx said, we just got to do that now. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, I guess. Apparently a lot of people like my boxes and are buying my boxes. So there's a lot of those floating around out there right now that, you know, have been getting different labels on them over time, that now people are not supposed to do that anymore. So
yeah, we did get the generic boxes from TSK and Reptile Basics, and I think Chad, I think your boxes are those as well. They don't have your branding on them. So yeah, people can use all those technically at this point. Yeah,
they don't necessarily have to be, you know, branded like it, you know, it just, you have to get it from me, you know, basically. That's what FedEx is saying now. You don't have to be, you know, MORPH Market branded box or, you know, SYR branded box. It's just, if you buy a label from us, you are, again, I'm going to do an air quotes here because it's what FedEx is telling us. You are supposed to put that on one of my boxes now. Same for all of us. So,
because guys,
how much they enforce that going forward, man, I mean, is to be seen, to be determined. FedEx says a lot of things. Their enforcement on those things are different. And obviously, you know, us being in this industry for a long time, I know which ones get enforced. I know which ones don't. I mean, you know, legally there's certain things I won't say, but you know, I know what really happens in certain situations behind the scenes just because I've seen it, been doing this a long time.
Darren, how real was like that letter from FedEx telling you that like you better do this or we're going to terminate your account? Because a lot of people feel like that was fake, like that wasn't even a legit FedEx person telling you that. And I just want you for the record to explain like what it was that even made this a thing. Like Ben said, it's kind of weird. Like how, you know, I've been for years, not years, but 8 years I've been shipping reptiles. Never once did any company say, guys, you got to start doing this or that, or we're done, you know? So it was kind of like, whoa, what was this all about, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they basically told us we have to enforce the rules, and if we don't, and we continue to have violations, then, you know, that's on us. And it's kind of tough because, you know, we might ship out 50,000 packages and only have 10 issues, you know, where it's like something happened. But the thing is I'm sure Chad and Ben could both, you know, say the same thing, that you can't control everybody. You can't control everybody shipping through. You can tell them exactly what they can and cannot do. But at the end of the day, when they make a mistake and they do something wrong, what are you supposed to do about it? You can kick them off and you can say, oh, don't do this again. But you know, if somebody else goes and does it, well, it puts your account at risk, and FedEx or UPS or whoever it may be, you know, can definitely take action against you on that. And, you know, as business owners, we have to protect ourselves, and sometimes we got to make tough calls that we don't necessarily want to make because it makes us look bad.
Yeah, let me jump in here real quick, MJ. I'm sorry. You're good. So if you are a buyer of reptiles and you are receiving reptiles, and someone sends you a reptile in some kind of bootleg box, or, you know, they, instead of using a snake bag, they use their brother's sweaty gym sock, you know, let us as the shippers know, because we all have a responsibility here. As Ben pointed out earlier, sometimes, yes, it doesn't seem to make sense in for these shipping companies, which have billions of dollars of revenue. And my guess is, you know, between all the shipping companies, we probably have somewhere between 15 and 18 million dollars that we add to the bottom line for these shipping partners that we have. We're a small drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
If you are receiving reptiles and someone's shipping them in a bad fashion, that sheds a negative light on all of us. And it doesn't take a whole lot of conversation to go upstairs to someone at the upper levels of UPS or FedEx to go, you know what? I'm good. We're done with this shit. We don't need it anymore. I don't need a headache here. I don't need Peter breathing down my neck. I don't need a news report about some snake getting out or a lizard getting out. I don't need it.
It ain't worth it.
We all have a responsibility. The guys on this call, we got a responsibility to police our customers and inform our customers and give them some packaging options that meet the standards and are going to keep the animals safe in shipment. But you as a customer, you have a responsibility as well, because if you receive some bootleg packing job, let us as the shipper know so we can get on that customer and get that shit corrected right away. And I want to say newsflash out there, guys. Like, you know, moving up the chain, that means these people have more money, and people with a lot of money, like some of the richest people in this world, support PETA. Okay, so let that sink in first and foremost. Like we just don't want none of this shit to even be a possibility. Like it's not.
No, that's a good point. Actually, I didn't think about it when I was talking a minute ago about it. I don't know why they, you know, in the last year have decided to enforce this. I mean, liability, I guess, is a good answer to that. That is a good answer from FedEx's side, because again, you know, just as Chad just said, the guys up top who just, you know, once it goes up high enough, there's some guy sitting there, you know, crunching numbers on a book. And again, 15 million sounds like a lot to us sitting here on this call, but to FedEx, it's not. It's nothing. It's just poof. What, 15 million a year? Yeah, done. Just cancel that whole program. There's, you know, I don't want to deal with all the PR on that. So that's what could happen someday if we don't do what we're supposed to do. If we let, you know, companies like PETA come in and say, we're going to try to shut you guys down because none of you guys are doing this right. We need to make sure that we are always doing it right. And so that's a good reason, actually, maybe that FedEx did say, hey, let's start using our boxes, mainly because they're also taking the liability off of themselves now, and the liability is now on us as the reptile shipping companies to make sure our boxes are appropriate. So then when a problem arises and some guy uses some, little gym sock or something in a crappy cardboard box that's paper thin and the animal dies, then FedEx can say, oh, well, it's not our fault. I mean, look at the reptile guys. They're the ones, you have to use their approved boxes, not our boxes. And FedEx, has their own boxes before that were technically approved to do it. But again, they weren't reptile shipping boxes. I mean, they were just cardboard boxes, and you still would have to go out and make it into your own reptile shipping container. You'd have to do that. Well, you're supposed to do that. I mean, I'm sure people didn't and just throw animals in cardboard boxes. I've seen that happen before. It has happened and will always happen. Again, we can't control what the customer does on our, same way FedEx can't either. I mean, none of us can actually control what our customers really do. So even right now on my website, when I say, buy the shipping label, you have to use my box, buy my box. You check a little checkbox when you sign out. You check that little license agreement, boom, you have to check that. That's my liability. That's my disclaimer. So you're agreeing to all my terms and conditions when you buy that label. So that takes the liability off of me and kind of puts it legally on the customer. But again, half the guys, no one actually reads that damn thing, right? I mean, they're just clicking on it. The people who know how to ship are shipping appropriately. And the guys who are trying to cut corners and use just cheap ass boxes and not do it the right way are doing that. And that is going to end up looking bad on us as the shippers, us as the industry as a whole. It's something that could, again, lead this thing the wrong direction. And I sure don't want that to happen. I mean, I was going to say I'm probably the youngest guy on this call. I'm close. I'm 39 years old. And I plan, I plan on wanting to do this for a while still. I mean, I'm, this is, again, I just purchased this business from my dad. So it's finally under, quote, my reign now to operate it the way I want to. I want this industry to thrive. I want to be in this for the next 20 years doing this still. So, I don't want it to go anywhere. I mean, this is my livelihood. This is what I do every day. So I don't have a side gig or side hustle. I'm 100% reptile Steve. That's all I do.
Respect. Yeah. Chad, have you ever had reports against you? Have you ever had shit your boxes being reported that they're not being shipped properly? Out of all the years doing this, has that ever happened to you?
Of course. Wow. Again, we can't be there to inspect everyone's packaging job. So as much information as we put out, we've got videos, we got social media, we've got packaging guides, we sell shipping kits, we sell cases of boxes, we go to shows, inform customers about packaging standards. You do all that, but there's always going to be a guy who's going to look to cut a corner. Years and years ago, we had somebody ship a blood python in a banana box. If you've seen a banana box at the grocery store, they're not even fully sealed boxes. They have the slots in them so the bananas can breathe as they're being shipped through. So the blood python was poking its face through the slots in the box. So again, we all have a responsibility here to ensure that doesn't happen. So whoever would have received that animal, hopefully they would have said something. So whenever we get a report from a recipient about a poor packaging job, we immediately call that shipper and have a detailed conversation. And I've fired shippers from my company before. It's you're gonna have to find another option because you don't do it right, man. And you're jeopardizing the entire industry and you're jeopardizing my company's ability to ship. So I can't have you do that anymore. So yes, it comes up from time to time, but at this point, we've been at this long enough. And I don't think this is a call necessarily to toot my own horn, but I'm gonna do it here. I think we have raised the shipping standards, the expectation of what it looks like when that box shows up at your door. It's going to be a new or new box, not a box that's been beat to hell. It's going to be 3/4 inch styrofoam insulation. The animal's going to be not just packed in a sweat sock, like I said earlier, but in an appropriate snake bag or a deli cup. There's going to be cushioning inside the box. Maybe somebody's going to throw a couple of stickers or some swag in the box. There's a whole presentation now to when you pay your $500 or $5,000 for your ball python that you expect this to be shipped in a certain way. And when you open that box, your expectations should be there. So I'd like to take a little bit of credit to being a driver to raising the expectation standards of the customer, what they expect that shipping process to look like, what they expect the packaging materials to be.
I think you're in that for sure. I'll give that to you.
Yep, I agree.
Now, listen, I want closing statements from everybody, and let's start with you, Chad. Anything you want to close off this episode? And after you give us a closing statement, would you ever return for an episode 2?
I'll go last question first. Yes, I think this is good. I think the more the public knows about this process, the better off our industry is going to be. My closing statement would be, it's not an awful thing that there's multiple options in the shipping space. Has, you know, the options created a little bit of chaos? Yeah, but I think things will calm down. But as I said earlier to start this call, all the negativity, all the lies and rumors and innuendo and gossip and all that other bullshit, there's no space for it, man. We're a reptile community here. So while we're competitors, let's keep it above board. Let's keep it classy. And I think if we all can do that, and we can all have times like this where we all get together for the betterment of the industry, the better off we'll all be. I'll close with that.
I love that, man. All right, why don't we go with you, Ben? Let's go.
Yeah, we could do, you know, definitely episode 2 and beyond. I'm down for it. Maybe by episode 10, we'll all throw in some gloves and we'll go to Vegas and we'll do like a tag team boxing match, right?
On Chad's team.
I'm not that good of a boxer, so I know a little bit of MMA stuff here and there. I'm more of the training ragdoll, so no, but yeah, I agree with everything Chad just said there, man. Is that yeah, I want all of us to. I think it's healthy for this environment. I think it's healthy for the customers too, to just kind of have a little bit of insight on what's going on in the industry. I know a lot of times breeders just, you know, again, it's every industry can be toxic. There's, you know, with social media and stuff, man. I mean, you can hop on Facebook and just read for ages, just mountains of data on opinions on all of us, I'm sure, about this and that. And some of it's true, some of it's not. That's just the unfortunate thing with misinformation these days. As soon as it gets on social media, boom, everybody just takes a hold of it. And then sometimes something runs viral, whether it's true or not. And that can be unfortunate. And we don't want the wrong information running viral like that towards this industry, in my opinion. I mean, I want to protect it, again, going forward. It's my future. I really care about it. I'm an animal lover myself. I have reptiles here at the house. I'm mostly a snake guy now. I got a bearded dragon. That's my wife's. But yeah, I mean, I love my animals, man. I do. And I love meeting new people. I love taking these animals to friends' houses and things. They bring their daughter by or something, their kids over, and they're like, oh, can we play with that snake? Can we hold that bearded dragon? They've never seen a reptile in their life or never got to hold one up close. And that's, you know, those are the people that are hopefully going to be doing this in the next 10, 15 years to keep this going for the next generation. So I do think that we have an obligation to continue to teach the industry and maybe more just in the industry to teach the generation coming up, you know, below us, what this industry is about, to keep it alive. So I am definitely trying to do a lot of that myself, specifically this year moving forward, as I'm really trying to target consumer education. I don't think enough of that's really happened. A lot of these consumers just don't know what the hell's going on when it comes to buying an animal, don't know how to ship it, don't know anything about it. Just they're uneducated. So I'm making that part of the stuff I'm doing this year, is to really push towards educating the consumer side and bringing them into the loop to say, here's what we do. You probably didn't even know there are companies that specialize in shipping these reptiles. Let's explain it to you.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Darian, send us home, buddy.
Yeah, I think that I think they both made a lot of good points. I think the big thing here is just, you know, I feel like the industry and people in general, you know, we're so divided and everybody's, you know, it's all social media this, social media that. I'm kind of trying to change some of that myself and, you know, try to bring people together a little bit on here. And, you know, everybody, I think the more people work together, the more success we're going to have. You know, if we're all just trying to affect each other and report each other for packaging issues and trying to take out the competition and whatever else, I mean, that's going to backfire and it's going to take us all out. So I think you know, this is a kind of a step in the right direction. And yeah, I appreciate, you know, all the history of, you know, everything Chad and Ben have done over the years with all this. And
yeah, totally.
I hope that, you know, we can keep it going for another 18, 20 years. So
yeah, totally. Well, listen, you know, I appreciate all you guys for coming by. Chad, of course, ship your reptiles. Find the link in the description below. Reptiles to you. Ben, also find the link in the description below. And Darian from MORPH Market. I want to say, guys, one thing that we should all know is, like, you know, spending that much energy wanting someone to lose in life, it doesn't last that long. You know, if you're that worried about someone else being successful, you're going to run out of gas. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. We got so much more to focus on. And I got to tell you, the unity from this one episode, I think it's going to take things to another level. I really do. So that's why I hope we get an episode 2 someday. Hope we get Debbie back, get Debbie on here maybe sometime. That'd be cool. Who knows, day by day. But I really appreciate all the services that you guys provide to this industry. Because again, I really mean it. Without Reptile shipping, none of this is possible. So
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for hosting, man. Good job. Thank you.
Give it up for Chad, Ben, and Dan, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, guys. Hey, have a good night. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out and watching. This was very impactful, I feel like. It was cool listening to this. Shout out to Chad Brown. What a stand-up guy. Shout out to Ben. Thanks for coming by, Ben. Pleasure meeting you and getting to know you. And, of course, Darian for holding it down. I want to say shout out to Darian, man. This was Darian's idea. And, again, it takes a lot of guts, okay? A lot of people don't want Darian to even be a part of the shipping world. And but this right here proves a lot, you know? Chad isn't here to see anyone get torn down. Neither is Ben. And neither is Darian, man. We're all in this together. At the end of the day, it's all about the reptiles. That's what we need to think about, right? Let's kind of put everything on the shelf, whatever political beliefs you have. If you're in the reptile industry, it's about the animals. That's it, right? And at the end of the day, we want to ship our animals to our customer, or to the person getting it. That's it. And that's all these companies are here to do. So it's that simple. And use whichever shipping company fits you best. All right. So thank you so much again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment in the comment section. I'm going to be selecting 3 random comments, okay, to be sending some awesome Morph Market merch to. So drop a comment. Let me know what you like best. Let me know what you got out of this episode, and I'll shoot you some awesome Morph Market merch. And I appreciate all the love and support. Hang tight if you are watching on the Trap Talk Reptile Network. I'm going live at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for my actual Trap Talk with MJ. But this was awesome. Again, thank you to Darian. Thank you to Ben. Thank you to Chad. Thank you to every single shipping reptile shipping company out there, because I love this hobby, man, and I love being able to take a production of mine and get into my customers' hands. But guys, that's all we have for this episode, special edition Reptile Shipping Wars. I'll see you for episode 2, and I'm out. Cheers.